Coworker tried to claim my 15-page report as her own work to the CEO. Got outed in front of him. Before I start the video, make sure to get this video an early thumbs up. Greatly appreciate the support. And I also leave a timestamp below in the description where you can check out different stories. And yeah, let's get right in with the show. So this was a young lady who was only got her job especially made for her because her dad was golfing buddy with our CEO. She regularly blamed her team for her numerous mistakes and took all the credit for their hard work. Let's call her B. We used to do trade shows, and after the fall season would be back in the office and create a comprehensive report on the result of the shows. Normally 15 pages. The VIPs always wanted paper reports, not attachments, so I normally print them out and distribute them personally to the staff. I handed B her copy as we passed the hallway, then watched in sheer amazement as she marched straight into the CEO's office and said, "I kid you not. Here, boss, I put this together for you." Stunning, the report was all about trade shows and she wasn't even in the same department. Cool the revenge. I marched in there right after her and said, "Oh, B, I just realized that my report has some numerical errors. Let me have it back and I'll give you a revised one." All the while, staring at the CEO with a slightly raised eyebrow. Whoa, that must be like really embarrassing. Imagine B's face, okay? Just shock, fear, traumatized. I mean, that gonna leave a scar, right? You cannot recover from that embarrassment, okay? You gotta be thinking about that for a while. As I left, I heard the most wonderful words from the CEO. "Aiku, would you please close the door as you leave?" B came out about 5 minutes. 5 minutes. As I left, I heard the most wonderful words from the CEO. "Aiku, would you please close the door as you leave?" B came out about 5 minutes later looking like a ripe tomato. I couldn't resist asking, "How was your little TT with your boss?" Oh my goodness. Wow. That is some crazy story. Like, how did he know when to walk in? Oh, I guess it's because he already predicted that, man, she just gonna claim that report as her own again. So just making sure that I wanna get revenge. That is just a genius revenge. Really embarrass her, and at the same time, you got your own kind of reward. You're the person that you can depend on because you did the work. The CEO must be really impressed at your report. Second story is the craziest story I ever read on the internet. Okay, this is a not the best way to do a proposal. I, 23-year-old female boyfriend, 26-year-old male friends pretending to kidnap me for a proposal. I am trembling and just created this alternative account because my main has a lot of details about me that would make it easy to trace and track. A week ago, my boyfriend told me he had a camping trip planned with his friends on Friday. He said he will have no service and he will see me on Sunday. He messaged me at 5 a.m. this morning and told me they are getting the road. Around 8 o'clock, I went for a run like I usually do on Fridays. I have one headphone in while I do because I my 23-year-old female boyfriend, 26-year-old male, their friends decided to pretend to kidnap me for a proposal. I am trembling and just created this alternative account because my main has a lot of details and about me. Oh fuck. I, 23-year-old female, and boyfriend, 26-year-old male. My boyfriend's friends pretending to kidnap me for a proposal. I am trembling I just created this alternative account because my main has a lot of details about me and that will make it easy to trace back. So a week ago, my boyfriend told me he had a camping trip planned with his friends on Friday. He said he will have no service and he will see me on Sunday. He messaged me at 5 a.m. this morning and told me they are hitting the road. Around 8, I went for a run like I usually do on Fridays. I have one headphone in while I do because I was on a work call. While I was running, I noticed a SUV that kept popping up. In hindsight, it looked just like my boyfriend's childhood friend's car. I sent a message to my sister saying to stand by and share my locations. Right after sending the message, I looked up and the SUV was right beside me and someone jumped out and grabbed me. It happened so fast I even dropped my phone on the pavement. I was pulled into this car and I could tell there was at least two masked guys in the back before they covered my eyes. In hindsight, they had cartoonish ski masks and black gloves on. I freaked out and recessed like crazy, screaming and kicking. All I could hear was these guys laughing, and I could feel one of them holding me down by my arm behind me, and the other was holding my legs down at the knee. I don't know how long I was in there, but I keep begging them to let me go and crying. I even admitted I peed on myself. But I don't think they noticed until we arrived at the house. They pulled me out of the car and I was screaming for help until I was pulled into a house. When the mask on my head was removed, I was on my knees in front of my boyfriend of 2 years. He was staring at me with a confused look before he started to get angry, ask his friends what was going on. As I started to adjust to what was going on, I realized he was dressed nice and there was romantic decoration around the entryway to his house. I realized who he was and what he was going on and collapsed into sobs. I probably had a 5-minute panic attack in the car on my way there and another one sitting in the entryway to his house. I was sweaty, wearing sealed yoga pants, flushed with fear, scared for my life. That was all about an hour or two ago. My boyfriend took me upstairs and was going to help me get showered and change, but I wanted to do that alone. I heard yelling and commotions downstairs while I showered, but I don't know what's going on. I am sitting on his room holding my shutter phone after crying to my sister about what happened. She lives 1.5 hours away, but is speeding over to get me now. I can't stop thinking about what happened, even though I know now I was never in any danger. I don't think my brain can comprehend it. They were snickering and teasing me in the deepening voice about what they were going to do to me. The one that was holding my legs down kept carrying my thighs up and down into the inner area. When the car would brake, his face kept falling into my chest. I don't even know who was that. Oh my god, that is terrible. The friend was taking advantage of her. Wow, that sounds so messed up. That is not. Oh my god. I just know one of them sounded unsure and kept trying to defuse the situation, but I think it was the driver. Edit number 2. I am working with the police now. This is going to be investigated as a false imprisonment or if I press charges. My sense of time was so warped. From where I was picked up to his house was about 7 or 8 minutes in the car. It felt like way longer than that. As for the friends, the driver was his childhood best friend who I actually get along with. He was in tears when he voluntarily arrived at the police station for a statement. The other two were friends from his athlete class that he started attending a few months ago. It seems like the two guys I didn't know wanted in on what otherwise was supposed to be the something more innocent. The original plan was for them to pop out of this car in their funny kidnapping attire and hand me a letter that explained I was being summoned by boyfriend and resistance is futile. Seems like the plan changed as the two new friends wanted to set me up a little bit more and make it feel more real. Edit number 3. I had time to calm down and long talks with my sister. We are going to meet up with my ex-boyfriend for dinner tonight. He has been respectful of my request for space but has been emotional whenever he thinks about what I went through this morning. His best friend contacted me respectfully apologizing for allowing it to get that far, but I asked for him to stop and he did. The best friend's fiance reached out and has been supportive and apologetic too. I am astounded at the support I receive here, and I wish I could thank each one of you individually. I never had anyone other than my sister and boyfriend care for my mental well-being like this. Reddit is the very kind place. Sometimes I agree. Well, I'm very grateful that everybody is on your side. I mean, who is not gonna be on your side? That sounds very very terrible. Even the two friend, and they will try to they try to take advantage of you by slamming their face into your chest. That is just crazy. So let's read on the comment. I rarely comment on this sub, but I feel like I need to for this one. Former crisis worker here that is well versed in trauma and trauma response. The part of your brain that kick in when you are in situation you think you might die or be seriously harmed doesn't care if later and you find out the situation was not as dire as you thought. One of the criteria for PTSD, which I hope you don't develop, but you just want to illustrate my point, is to have been in a situation where you think you might die, not that you actually might have died. I want to point this out because I worry people will try to discredit what you went through since it was just a joke. You didn't know that at the time and you experienced the trauma of someone who had actually been kidnapped. Edit, you were kidnapped. I meant by someone unknown to you. My friend had to quit her job because they went into lockdown over a possible shooter. It ended up being fine. There was no gun and the threat was actually minimal, but the hours she spent hiding thinking she was about to die gave her PTSD. I wish you well and I'm glad you have your sister with you. So that's like the quality connections that we humans look for, right? Whenever times are stressful or when you are in distress, you really want to find someone and just talk it out. Imagine if her sister was not there, or if her sister was not there to talk to her, it would have been really really bad situation. So really thankful that the sister is there. And the comment actually had a good point too. Even though it's not like a real, it was just a joke, but her experience was just so real. You know, he pointed out the two friends he doesn't even know, right? And they keep pushing her legs, pushing her arm down, and saying some words that is inappropriate, and touching her body and putting his face into the chest. That is like horrible, and a very realistic situation. If you were end up like being kidnapped, you know, they might, you know, touch you in the inappropriate area. So my suggestion is if things get a little bit weird or your mental health is like deteriorating, be sure to seek help and seek like therapy and stuff that could try to like maybe help you out a little bit in the long term. So yeah, hope everything goes well, and I just feel really really bad for her experience. All right, next one is they didn't honor my reservation, so I got a revenge plan. Okay, so few months ago, I volunteered to plan my MIL's 60th birthday and my FIL's 64th birthday, which was a weekend in wine country. I had made a reservation for a group of 10 at a new upscale restaurant month beforehand. Because it was also a winery, we arrived 2 hours early and checked in with the restaurant to see if they could see us early. Despite an empty restaurant, they said they couldn't, and that was no big deal. We understood they could be low staffed. So we went and got some wine and hang out and listen to live music. Close to our reservation time, I got a text from the restaurant to be seated. It was beginning to rain. We walked over to the host. She informed us that because it was raining and because our table was outdoors, that they would not be able to see us tonight. As calmly as I could, I explained to them that I have had a reservation for months. I've been here for 2 hours and I was not told that my reservation was for an outdoor table or subject to rain. There was no indoor or outdoor option. I explained to them that it was for a 60th and 64th birthday party. I asked if they could split us up between two tables, and they just kept saying that there was nothing they could do and that it wasn't their fault because we can't control the weather. Ooh, that sounds so bad. I will be so mad, very frustrated. Waited for 2 hours, made a reservation 1 month early, and you gonna tell me the weather is not nice enough? I want there must be some kind of secret behind it that they can't see them. It's not because of the weather. If the weather is bad, you can just sit inside, right? Somebody must book the whole restaurant, okay? So I snapped a needle and said sharply, well, what you could have done was not reserve out a table to a large party that you could not guarantee. The manager just shrugged. Oh, man, that's bad. I wonder how he gonna get the revenge. We left, and because it was Saturday at 6 p.m., there was no way we were getting a seat at another restaurant. I had to go to the grocery store and cook a full meal for 10 people. Oh my god. Oh, 6 p.m. It was starting late too. Like, if I want to cook something, I would have started preparing around 11 a.m. I emailed the manager to ask them if there was anything they could comp because our experience was just so terrible. I got no response after a week, so I made multiple Gmail accounts and left what was a fairly new restaurant 10 different one-star reviews. Ooh. In the reviews, I said that you should never book this restaurant if you have a large party. How they did not try to find us a table at another restaurant. How they had 2 hours to fix their errors. That they booked out a table they could not guarantee. That they didn't move a table undercover, which there was plenty. Provide any comps or otherwise made any attempt to fix their error. They ended up with 2-star drop in their Google rating because of my reviews. I left one review for every person that did not get a seat. That is a genius right there. I love that. One review for every person that did not get a seat. Several days after I had posted, they reached out offering to come a meal for my in-law if our group took the reviews down, which I refused. I will not even take the review down too. You guys deserve it, okay? Like, if I waited for 10 hours with a friend, 10 people, and it's a birthday party and they didn't even get us in, oh, and it's 6 o'clock, it's just so frustrating. That would have been a really frustrating experience. So let's read one of the comments. I hate when they offer something after the consequence of their actions caught out to them and it is crappy. That's what I said too. If they're gonna offer anything, it's better to be a no string attached offer that goes above and beyond and making it right. Yeah. So if I was their manager, I would have offered them free menu, any item, no limit on pricing, no limit on what kind of order you want. What I would have done is I order something for my own, right? And they order 3 or 4 items where I can take to go. That's what I want, okay? This one is really good. How I got back at a pussy guy on a bad first date. Alright, so when I was 18 years old, 10 years ago, I was doing the online dating thing. I live in the US and I about 15 minutes from the Canadian border. My date and I went to Canada together on the first day because I couldn't drink in the US, but I could in Canada, and we wanted to go to a bar or a casino. He picked me up in his little sports car and we rode together through the border crossing to the casino. We played some games and had some drinks and were having a decent time. I got to the point where I was decently drunk and knew if I had any more alcohol, I'd be out of commission. I told my dad I was done drinking and wanted to start heading home. Instead of listening to me, he went and got us both another round of drinks and he handed me a big Long Island iced tea. I told him point blank I couldn't drink it because I was at my limit. He didn't take too kindly to that and got pussy. He told me, "You have to drink it. I bought it for you. If you don't drink it, you're going to make me waste money." No matter how many times I told him no, he continued to push me on this. I got very frustrated and upset because I was alone with this pussy man in another country and I was very upset with myself for getting into this situation. We argued for a while and eventually I snapped and formulated a little plan. He agreed to take me home after I finished the drink. I took the drink from him and trucked it. We got into his car and started for another border. It's important to note that this guy was very proud of his car. He spent the whole drive to the border telling me about all the features and how much he loved it. I spent the whole drive ignoring him and focused on keeping my sick stomach under control. My goal was to make it through the border crossing at least, which was proving pretty difficult. We did eventually make it through the border crossing, and as soon as we made it back into the US, I turned in my seat to look him in the eyes, and I told him, "I didn't appreciate how you forced alcohol down my throat. After I repeatedly told you no, I know my limits and you ignored and disrespected me. I said I couldn't drink more for a reason." Then, while maintaining direct eye contact with him, I started vomiting in his car. Whoa! I knew this was coming and specifically oriented myself to cause as much damage as possible. Dang. The story is getting really, really good. I did not expect that at all. I threw out on the seat, the floor, the desk. He was freaking out and I just started crying and telling this was his fault and he could either take me home or let me out the car now. But I will call the police if he doesn't proceed with one of the two options. He dropped me off at home and I never saw him again. Wow, that is one beautiful revenge right there. I could not imagine it any better than this. I mean, that guy is definitely really, really pussy. Like, I will never be that guy, okay? Pushing or trying to get the girl to get really drunk. You know, that guy must have some intentions going try to like get you really drunk and take you to a hotel or something, you know. But yeah, I'm glad like you got him back. That guy tried to play a bad drinking game and he lost. Yeah, he plays stupid games, wins stupid prizes. Definitely made my wife and my sister cry on wedding day. So my wife wanted us to get married in a church. I have my opinion about it, but given that she wanted it and it would make her happy, that made me happy. So I gave up on it and don't ever press back. Let's forget about the fact that the generous loving church required a $1,000 donation to conduct the ceremony and sign the marriage certificate. I agreed. Come the wedding day, we walk down the aisle surrounded by friends and family. The ceremony goes wonderfully. We walked back and started talking to some of the guests and smiled, laughed, and just be happy. I then noticed my sister, who was part of my wedding party, was teary-eyed. I looked closer and noticed that she had been crying. I asked her what happened, why she was crying, but she wouldn't budge. I then found out my wife had also been crying before the ceremony. I then come to find out that this deacon, who had been part of the ceremony, had told my wife right before she walked down the aisle and get married that she couldn't do so because she didn't have a veil. She was told right before she was to be married, that she wasn't allowed to walk down the aisle because of a freaking veil. Veil. Let's just say I was seeing red. Let's just say I was prepared to burn down the world. Let's just say I became angry. I knew that my sister's tears were something to do with the decon as well, which made this 100% worse. But I wasn't about to ruin my wife's wedding day by making a scene, and my friends encouraged me to deal with it later as well, so I temporarily let it go. Rest of the wedding day went phenomenally. Everyone had a blast, and we wouldn't have been happier. But when we got back from the honeymoon, I took a trip to the church. I took 2 trips to the church. In fact, I took 3 trips to that church. Each time I calmly, but with what I expect was the look, demonic anger on my face, went to their front office and complained and argued and fought with literally anyone who was there. I demanded to speak with whoever was in charge, not the man upstairs, obviously, and spoke to some head of the church board or some crap like that. I demanded punishment for the decon, for a face-to-face apology, for some kind of repercussion or retribution for bringing my wife and sister to tears on my wedding day. I am a lawyer, so I've gotten very used to arguing and arguing and arguing. As much as I wanted to throttle the man that did this, I forced the civilized lands to make precedents and dealt with that way. It's been months. From what I've been told and from my own observation, he has been fired. I was also told that he had a reputation whenever that meant, but I'm convinced my poking and prodding and stabbing at the subject finally got that miserable prick fired from his old so self-righteous position. My sister still haven't told me what made her cry that day, but the coincidence is just too great. Not sure if this should be posted to Am I a Asshole or some other Reddit, but hey, it feels good to tell this story, and I'm just glad I was able to meet some vengeance or revenge. Wow, that is a really great revenge story. You guys can think about it, right? A person, a lawyer getting married, and the person that is kind of helping with the ceremony made the bride, the bride and the sister cry on the wedding day. The wedding day is supposed to be the happiest wedding day ever, but made them cry with tears. That is just terrible. Let's read some comments. Grandfather told me that his poor church ceremony barely finished. They let a rich ceremony enter the church and kicking them out. No time for pictures or enjoying it. They were a small party, like 10 people, while the rich wedding was like 50 people. My grandfather had to come back the next day and he was definitely not happy. But he is a religious man and not a bad man. But still, while giving the check, he accidentally left it. The small piece of paper flew until reaching below some furniture, and my grandfather told me that seeing that guy on his knee to get back the check was a sufficient revenge. I have always seen my grandfather as a good person to everyone. Very fair. Well, this reminded me that some people do not deserve that you are nice to them, and being good to everyone is treacherous. Okay, that's a word I never spoke before. But yeah, not every single person in the world is a nice person. But as long like there is, I feel like in the world there's a lot more nice people than bad people. It's just my experience, cause ever since I moved from a big city to a small town right here, and I feel like there's a lot more friendlier people than bad people. Just say that. I don't know if people from the big city agrees, but yeah, sometimes it is like super hard to be a nice person. There's still a lot of evil person out there that want to take advantage of you. So it is hard to be a good guy in this on earth. So next story is a little bit chilling, let's just say. Okay, so found a video online of my dad who abandoned us when I was 6. Alright, so I found a video of my dad online. He been out of our lives since I was 6, so I haven't seen him in 20 years. I know he loved dancing and used to bring a ton of women home. He used to get mad at my mom for not dancing with him because he was raising the family and running the family business alone. He also would get mad at her for not being as hot as the other woman he was seeing. He even tried to make a deal with her once where he agreed to help with the family 2 days of the week and go out with other women all the other days. Eventually, he moved across the country to pursue his dream of being a free man to fuck other women. Well, recently I got curious and searched his name and I found this video of him posted within the last month on YouTube dancing and doing tango with his new wife or whatever, whoever she is. Let me just say, my eyes has been assaulted. He sucks in many ways. And his dancing probably sucks more than he sucked as a dad, which is really saying something. Anyway, just wanted to tell strangers anonymously because I can't tell this sort of private personal stuff to my people in my life. Edit. Whoa, I wasn't expecting this to blow up. Thank you for all the support and kind words. It is really depressing to hear that so many people found this post relatable. My heart goes out to you all. Big hugs. And for those of you who want to send nasty comments on his YouTube that seriously made me laugh out loud, I probably won't share the video for my own privacy concern, but I appreciate this supportive sentiment. Yeah, this is a really sad story. So you found a dad that is just doesn't really care about you, just always hanging out with different women in life and never really spend time with you. It just he thinks that he can have like 6 or 10 wives at the same time, which is not gonna work. You know, if you're a decent or a good man, you just have one wife and raise like 2 kids. You know, that's what you're supposed to do. That's what I like to do, but that's not what he thinks. You know, if you think you can have 10 wives, then don't have kids. You know, just don't have kids. Like you are hurting other people's lives. You know. So let's read one of the comments, okay? So I haven't seen or heard from my father in almost 30 years when my buddy called me. My pop said he saw your dad on the news. I went online to watch the replay from the day before or whatever, and there he was, name on the screen and everything, but I didn't recognize him. He was being interviewed at a homeless shelter. That was the last time I saw him. Surreal. It's like some people live a really good life and other people they might end up miserable. You know, you never know. Here's another like pretty awesome revenge story. Making my high school teacher pay. So this happened about 23 making my high school teacher pay. So this happened about 23 years ago, but I'm still proud of it to this day. During college, I worked as an assistant manager at a Blockbuster Video a few blocks from my old high school. I would occasionally run into some of my old teachers who would come in to rent video after school, and most of them I had a good rapport with, except Mr. B, who was a relatively young but incredibly stuck-up religious teacher I had sophomore year. This was a Catholic high school. He always had an air of I'm better than you, had no idea how to talk to or make the most basic connection with students, and just a bad, mean teacher. So one Friday night, Mr. B came in to rent a video along with Mr. M, who was my absolute favorite teacher and just a great dude. Mr. M greets me by my first name, asks me how I am doing. I check him out, wipe his late feet, and I am on his way. I notice Mr. B is 2 people back in my line. When it's his turn, he approached and his teacher voice yelled at my last name like we were in high school. I tell him he has a $12 late fee. He says, okay, you can take care of that. I look him right in the eye, smirk and said, I'm sorry. I have no power to wipe late fees. You need to pay before you can rent. Now he is furious. as he clearly heard me tell Mr. N, don't worry, I took care of your late fees. I tell him doing so would be stealing from the company, and as you taught us, the fourth commitment is tell salt not steal. Getting the commitment number wrong on purpose. He stormed out of the store without the DVD. Wow, that is a little bit crazy. I mean, the teacher kind of bring it up like, I heard you tell my other teacher, my friend, the other teacher, like you wipe his feet. Why don't you not wipe my feet? Like I wonder if he tried to make an argument to like kind of make up for it. But let's see what the comment says. Block busted when karma finally hit the rewind button. Wow, that is really good. I mean, Blockbuster. For those of you who don't know, Blockbuster is a time when we don't have Netflix or Hulu. Everybody order like a DVDs from like a store or something, and they will mail it to you. Or you rent a DVD from a store and you watch it for like a week and then bring the DVD back. Yeah, that's a really old concept that was alive while I was alive too. I don't know if you guys ever experienced it. Let me know. Leave it in the comment section below. All right, so this one is really, really good, okay? I planted a bamboo that overrun my neighbor's property over a security light. About 4 years ago, I used to live in a nice HOA in a small town in Texas and enjoy having only one neighborhood over my backyard fence. The plot was about 2 acres and the other side of the backyard brought out to a hayfield. The stars were beautiful at night because of virtually no light pollution, until the neighbor decided to install an incredibly bright security light over their back porch aimed right at my back patio and bedroom window. I tried to ignore it at first and put sage in the bedroom, but out on the patio it was like having a bright LED headlight in your face all night. I consulted the HOA about adding a privacy addition to my fence to increase its height, and they said no, because it already at the maximum 8 foot allowed height. That said, there was nothing in the bylaws or whatever about bright lights, so nothing they could do. Diplomacy. So I headed for this to be the day where we finally had a formal greeting after 3 years of back porch wave, but I walked over and rang the doorbell with a $20. I politely explained how the light was causing the nausea and asked if there was any way I could convince him to point the light down or in a different direction, and even offer to buy him a case of beer, the $20 bill, out of goodwill, and even a new motion sensing light. He seemed nice and agreed to point it down, but after waiting a month, nothing changed. I went back to have another polite conversation, and he said he had changed his mind and was going to leave it on every night and leave it as it is. Here comes the petty revenge. Needless to say, I was a bit upset diplomacy failed and started figuring out how to win. If military taught me anything, there's always ways to adapt and overcome. So I started researching fast and growing plans to create big privacy walls and reading through the HOA bylaws and city-state ordinance about what I could and couldn't plant, and if there were any repercussions for reentrenchment across the property line. I quickly discovered running bamboos, despite being very invasive, would grow super fast to make the neighbor house and light disappear from view, and there was nothing on the HOA state city books to prevent me from planting it or cause legal reoccurs if it spread and grew on his side of the fence. Only thing he could do is cut anything that grew on his side of the line. So I pulled the trigger and planted a bunch of golden bamboo, which grows and spreads crazy fast in Texas and grow up to 20 foot tall. Wow. I didn't care if it took over the fence line because this house is 15 foot from the fence, where mine was 50 yards away, so I could plant a bunch right against the fence and only put root barrier on my side to prevent it from spreading into my yard. Within 6 months, his house and light were gone from view, replaced by a pretty bamboo jungle rolled at the edge of my yard. Within 1 year, he complained it was growing into his yard via a mailed letter. They went right into the trash with no response. He rang my doorbell once, and I looked at him through the window, but just didn't answer the door. I unexpectedly sold the house and moved 2 years after planning for a career opportunity. It's been 2 years since I sold, and I just checked the property on Google Earth, and his entire backyard is bamboo. Wow, that is a sweet, sweet revenge right there. Let's read one of the comments. As someone who has dealt with bamboo, this is almost nuclear revenge. I mean, just imagine, like winter time with the leaves kind of turn gray, and it falls down. I mean, I can just imagine like the backyard is covered with leaves, trenches, and you have to do your work. Yeah, that is a sweet, sweet revenge. I mean, you can't blame the person that planted the bamboo, right? Because he actually went to the neighbor nicely and asked him, "Can you point the light at a different direction?" All you have to do is just point it like that to a different direction. That's it. But the neighbor says no. What's the reason behind that? I don't know why you can't point the light to a different direction. That could have solved the whole problem, but you didn't want to. And now you got like an army of bamboos. But yeah, guys, I think that is about the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on bell notification. And my name is Calvin, and I see you guys next video.